Hello, everyone, and welcome to APS Tuesdays, a weekly webinar and introduction to Autodesk Platform Services. For those who don't know this yet, we started running APS Tuesdays webinars more than a year ago, and we accumulated quite a few frequently asked questions. So let me address them first. First question that we commonly get is whether APS Tuesdays is different every week. And the short answer is no. We do provide similar content every week. APS Tuesdays webinar is meant to be an introduction to Autodesk Platform Services, a high-level overview, and non-coded session. So the content is pretty repetitive week over week. However, our presenters do change. We do rotate. So sometimes it can be me, sometimes it can be my counterparts in Europe, Phil or Peter. So the flavor of the presentation might change. And also the use cases we show might change because it does depend on the audience input and on the audience interests. Another question we get is this session being recorded? Actually, we do not record every APS Tuesdays, but today is an exception because we would like to record this session to share that on our APS YouTube channel later this week. And you can find our YouTube channel following this link. Last question that we usually get is whether this session will be helpful for me if I'm not a software developer. The answer is yes, absolutely. This session is not technical. It is meant to be an introduction. We're going to talk about digital transformation, use cases like dashboards, digital twins, integrations, automation solutions. So if any of that interests you, then you are in the right place.
Now, I give you more details on what Autodesk Platform Services Tuesdays is. But let me tell you more about my team and my role at Autodesk. So I'm a business development manager on developer advocacy and support team here at Autodesk. And what our team does, we support companies. It can be partners, Autodesk customers, system integrators, independent software developers who use Autodesk Developer Technologies to build their own web solutions, their own engineering, web services, their own applications. And we are talking about plugins for our desktop products. For example, if you or your company developed a plugin for Autodesk Revit before, or you are considering developing an Autodesk Platform Services web application, our team is here to enable you to develop those solutions and to help you on different stages of your developer journey: onboarding, evaluating, building, and expanding. So developer advocacy and support team is actually divided into two parts. It is software engineering on one side. It is a bigger part of our team. We have around 40, 50 people with different expertise, and they support our partners and customers day in and day out with their technical questions. And we are all over the world, so we support not only English, we support 10 plus different languages. And our team in general is 50 plus engineers and business development people. And this is the second piece of our team, the business development team. And we're here to be your first point of contact, depending on where you are in the world. For example, here, I am in the US, I'm in Michigan. So if you are in the US, in Latin America, in Canada, I would be your first person to reach out to understand what resources you can leverage, to understand your APS journey better. However, if you are located in other places of the world, you might be interacting with my counterparts in EMEA or APAC regions.
Our webinar today will be divided into 4 pieces. We will start with explaining what Autodesk Platform Services is, and I see a comment about just understanding the terms, right? Understanding the positioning of Autodesk Platform Services from the Autodesk perspective and the value that we are proposing to our customers and partners with APS. So this is going to be our first component. Then I'll go over different use cases of what partners and customers have been building with Autodesk Platform Services, what solutions they have been building for the last around 10 years. And then we'll go over support resources and events. And one of the pieces of feedback we got for the last few times is that a lot of you want more links, more maybe engagement with the website so that you understand where to go after the webinar. So we will focus on that today as well. Send you all the links and show you how to find that yourself on our website. And then lastly, we'll have our questions and answers session. However, I do want to keep it informal. So if you have questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to drop them in Q&A in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them right away or forward you to a place where you can find answers after the webinar. And if you would like to articulate your question and say it out loud, just raise your hand and I'll let you talk. Okay, so with that, let's start our first piece of the presentation, understanding Autodesk Platform Services and the value proposition behind it. So when we start talking about Autodesk Platform Services, we always start conversations about digital transformation of our customers, partners, businesses. And when we have conversations about digital transformation, it always has multiple large components to it. And one of the large components of the digital transformation is platforms you're building upon. So you started implementing Office software package tools, you started implementing different ERP or CRM systems or any other collaboration tools that help you create that single source of truth in one area, that help you not depend on various paper documents, various versions, and you have one place, one location accessible by most teams where you can find the right data at the right time. However, in our industry, in the design and make industry, key data and the data that a lot of times drives businesses tends to be siloed, hidden in big files. Files that are not easily shareable, not easily accessible by teams who, for example, just simply don't have a license to a tool because they're not engineers, they're not architects, they don't need that license on a daily basis. Thus, they don't have access to the information they would need. Or maybe they don't have enough background to understand how to navigate through the tools and get the small piece of data they would need for their job. So when we talk about Autodesk Platform Services, we talk about connecting that design and make data coming from the authoring tools to the rest of the enterprise, to the rest of the enterprise systems, so that we don't have silos in between those systems anymore, and we have those systems talk to each other. So that helps us create the ecosystem of single sources of truth that are interconnected between each other. And Autodesk Platform Services also allows you to connect that data and share that data to teams who tend to not have access to the design and make data. So maybe we're talking about marketing, maybe we're talking about sales teams, maybe we're talking about fabrication teams, teams that need that data to proceed and do their daily work, but they never used to have that access before because of the siloed systems. And when we talk about the design and make data, we actually don't only mean the Autodesk formats, the Autodesk design and make data. As an input, Autodesk Platform Services can take up to actually 70 plus, not 60 plus, 70 plus formats. And of course, Autodesk file formats are supported. So Revit, AutoCAD, 3ds Max, Navisworks, you name it. But also APS supports our Alliance partners files like Esri or Aptera, independent formats like IFC, or third-party formats. And some of you will recognize some of the industry terms, so Bentley MicroStation, or maybe PTC Creo files or SolidWorks files. And through APS, that allows you to take the design and make data and convert it to data that's viewable, that's visualized, that can be presented in a simple, intuitive form of a dashboard, for example, and shared with stakeholders, connected to other business processes across the company. So we're extracting value from the data that used to be hidden in the corner. Now, we talked about the business value, the impact or the value proposition of Autodesk Platform Services. But what is it at the end of the day? So the key thing about Autodesk Platform Services is that it's not a product. If you worked with Autodesk, you probably worked with some of the Autodesk products like Revit, Inventor, 3ds Max, depending on your industry, or even Autodesk Construction Cloud. But at the same time, APS is not a product. Instead, it's a set of development tools. It's a set of web service APIs or web service components that you can leverage to build your own solutions. So again, it's not a ready to install product, ready to use product. Instead, Autodesk exposes web service APIs to third parties so that you can create value-driven web solutions with the help of APS. And a lot of times we compare APS as a concept with Lego bricks or Lego blocks. Imagine you have a box of Lego bricks. They're all different sizes, different colors. And depending on how you put them together, you get a completely different structure. So the same idea applies to Autodesk Platform Services. Autodesk exposes, I think, around 15 now APIs or those components to you, and you can connect them together. You can choose which one you would like to use in your application and build your unique web application that works with the design and make data of your company. And at this point, you might realize that to start working or to use Autodesk Platform Services and create your solution, you do need to be a web developer. But the entry level is actually pretty low because to get started with Autodesk Platform Services, all you need to know, or all your web developers need to know, is basic web development skills. And that includes REST API on the back end. That includes HTML, CSS, and JavaScript on the front end, some server development, Node.js or .NET. And for newer APIs, maybe some of you who are software developers already played with it a little bit. You would need to know GraphQL for AC data model, for manufacturing data model, or for data exchanges. And those are the skills you would need to get started with APS. And I do know there are a few people here that are software developers, so I'll just briefly mention that on this slide, you'll see some of the components or those web service APIs that Autodesk exposes to you. And for example, the component called Model Derivative API, it's that API that allows you to convert 70 plus file formats, industry formats to a format that's viewable in Autodesk Platform Services Viewer, that extracts geometry, that extracts metadata from the model coming from the authoring tool. And I'll show you examples when you'll see Model Derivative and APS Viewer in action. And I think another thing worth mentioning that all our products, web products like Autodesk Construction Cloud, BIM 360, Tandem, or Forma, their APIs are available through Autodesk Platform Services. So if you would like to create an integration with Autodesk Construction Cloud or BIM 360 or Tandem, you would go through Autodesk Platform Services to make that happen. Now, another thing that is important to understand is Autodesk Platform Services is one of the components that you can leverage in your web application. And for example, if you only want to take a model that used to be somewhere hidden in a tool, and you would like to put it in a dashboard and connect in a dashboard and visualize the data from the model, maybe how many windows, what materials you have of that model. All you need to do, or all you need to implement, would be Autodesk Platform Services and some customization of your front end, of your user interface. However, the more complex your solution will get, and the more you would need to connect it with other databases, connect it with other cloud storages, connect it with other technologies or software, the more technology you will actually implement in your application. So Autodesk Platform Services will be just a piece of your application. But the key thing here is that that is the piece that works great with the design and make data, with the BIM models, with the CAD models that most of you, if not all of you, are working with on a daily basis. So with the description of Autodesk Platform Services, you might be wondering who's actually using Autodesk Platform Services. So you can see that the last place in this slide is Autodesk, but Autodesk is the largest user of Autodesk Platform Services. We are using APS internally to build our own solutions. So Autodesk Construction Cloud, BIM 360, Autodesk Fusion. And then if you are familiar with Autodesk, with the Autodesk Design and Make platform, you know about the industry clouds. And those are being built with the help of Autodesk Platform Services as well. So Forma for architecture, engineering, construction, Fusion for manufacturing, and Flow for media and entertainment. But outside of Autodesk, as I mentioned earlier, we are exposing those components to third parties so that you can benefit from that and you can build your own solutions with APS. And we see multiple types of companies leveraging APS. And it's across multiple industries because APS does provide you industry agnostic technology. So you can implement that in manufacturing or in AEC or media and entertainment. So first category is independent software developers. Those are companies who leverage Autodesk Platform Services to build their commercial solutions that they further on sell to their customers. Then we have customers, and in this case, in this sense, it means Autodesk customers who are, for example, already users of Autodesk Construction Cloud, but they would like to customize their Autodesk experience. They would like to integrate their maybe ACC with other enterprise systems, maybe SAP if you're in Europe. I know it's a pretty common integration request, or any other cost databases. And then we have system integrators. Those are companies who provide professional services leveraging APS and offering their help to our customers or to their customers to actually develop and deploy a solution. If, for example, customers don't have an in-house development team or they would like to contract someone out for that project. Then we have university partners who are adding value to the Autodesk portfolio using Autodesk Platform Services. And as I mentioned, Autodesk as the biggest user of APS. And this is just to reinforce the point, a simple visualization of the Autodesk platform. And you can see that we have 3 industry clouds on top that I mentioned for different industries. And the plumbing for that platform, the plumbing for the industry clouds is actually Autodesk Platform Services. So 2 things here. As I mentioned, Autodesk is using that internally to build our own solution so that you can see that as a possible solution you can develop with APS. At the same time, this architecture allows allows companies and teams to connect to the Autodesk platform and to add more value to the Autodesk platforms through integrations, automations, creating dashboards, visualizing the data coming from the Autodesk platform, the Autodesk solutions, and so on. I think I saw another question here. Thank you. You're welcome. Now, our team is called Developer Advocacy and Support. So we advocate for the Autodesk Developer Technologies, and we also support you on your journey with Autodesk Developer Technologies. And there are multiple ways, multiple paths you can take with APS. First, you can go to the documentation page and explore the opportunities, the open APIs that we are offering. They're all available and documented on our website. So if you go to Autodesk Platform Services, aps.autodesk.com, go to documentation, you can actually see that here we combine our cloud APIs or even desktop APIs. So all the documentation will be in one place. On top of that, there is an opportunity to go to our marketplace, Autodesk App Store, and explore existing solutions. So maybe you have a business challenge, you need to automate a project creation in Autodesk Construction Cloud. you can go to our marketplace and search for a similar tool, a similar solution, because maybe other partners, other companies already created that for you, and you might not want to reinvent the wheel. So this is definitely a path you should consider if you are considering an additional application that you would like to implement in your business. However, if you don't find the right solution and you would like to get your own development started, your own development project, you get access to all their onboarding resources and all the support resources. On our website, there are a lot of learning tutorials, there are a lot of videos that we publish almost every week on our YouTube channel, or we have blog posts, and you always have our team to reach out to in case you need support on your project. Now, when it comes to APS being a set of components or Lego blocks, what you might be wondering, what customers and partners are actually building with APS, because it sounds like it's not the same solution every time. So, of course, all of them are unique, all of them are different applications, but based on our experience with our ecosystem for the last 10 years, we identified top 4 most common application types that our partners and customers are building with APS. That includes dashboards or reporting tools. This is a very simple web page that combines information coming from a model, maybe visualizes that information, and depending on the persona using the dashboard, the visualization and the filtering will be different. And then this is the place for stakeholders to monitor the health of the project, maybe to identify red flags earlier in the process. So dashboards are probably the most common solution type that people are building with APS. We have a few more examples of creating a digital twin, so visualizing the IoT data in the context of a BIM model, in the context of design and make model. Then we have integration, which is becoming more and more common request for the use of Autodesk Platform Services. And that can be integration with Autodesk Construction Cloud, integration with internal, either homegrown systems or just ERP, existing ERP CRM systems that the business is using. And then, especially in the manufacturing industry, we have configurators and design automation solutions. And configurators are very common for example, build-in product manufacturers. So if you have a product that you're selling to your customers that is customizable, a lot of companies created a simple web configurator so that people with no or limited design experience can go to the page, configure exactly what they want, and accelerate that process from configure to quoting to production in a very easy and intuitive way. And I'll show you one example of that later as well. And those are just a few more categories of solutions that we are seeing and we saw in the past. Data connectors, and I saw already a question about it. There are different data connectors that allow you to move parts, subsets of the model in between different applications, and not only Autodesk applications. We have parts catalogs or a simple library of models. A lot of companies use that as their portfolio that they publish on the website. We saw prefabrication solutions and AR/VR solutions in the past as well. The previous slide was the what people are building, companies and companies and teams are building with APS. This slide summarizes the impact and the value that customers saw in implementing an APS-powered solution in their business. It was about making better and faster decisions because the data that was locked, hidden, and only accessible to a limited number of people, now accessible to more stakeholders. So they can make more informed decisions and they can have or avoid difficult discussions in the future. Maybe if we talk about configurators, it's about creating a better customer experience, enhancing your customer experience and customer value, and providing a better product and a better service. Sometimes it can be about increasing your sustainability, meeting your sustainability goals by connecting your design choices earlier with the sustainability database to see the impact of your design choices on sustainability. Or the same with safety. And of course, at the end of the day, it's about lowering costs and increasing profits. This slide, I think, is the last one before we jump into use cases. And it might be valuable for some of you in one way and for some of you in another way. So if you are a customer and you're looking for some help in developing an application, maybe an integration between ACC and your own ERP system, or you're trying to automate project creation ACC, those are common use cases that we hear. You might see this list as your trusted support with APS solutions. So you can find a partner, you can find one of the companies from this list and collaborate with them, work with them, and they will be able to help you build and deploy solutions with Autodesk Platform Services. They are certified by Autodesk, and they're a trusted support in the software development services. At the same time, if you are an independent software developer or a system integrator, you might see this as an opportunity to get certified, to get listed on our website, and to be that trusted support that we recommend to our customers asking for customization or automation work. Okay, so now we can jump into Autodesk Platform Services use cases. And we divide them usually into proof of concepts. That is something developed by our APS engineers to showcase what's possible with APS. And I'll show you just one example to showcase an integration between a BIM model and a cost database. And then I'll show you our partner and customer examples. So those are real solutions that solved a challenge that a company had. And we'll talk about the challenges they had and how they were able to solve it and what outcomes they got after implementing that solution. So first on my list is live demo. So I'll show you just one. And since it is a live demo, it is a live web page that you can access anytime on your own. So I'll make sure to send the link to you as well. Okay, so what we can see here, and then if you are not familiar with APS, I'll explain everything. But if you saw a few examples before, you might recognize that, okay, this is the APS viewer in action. So on the left side, you see a BIM model. I think in this case, it is coming from Autodesk Revit. However, it doesn't have to be coming from an Autodesk product. It can be coming from 70 plus different file formats. And if you go to this website on your own, you will see you can choose from 3 different types of model. Just a reminder that APS solutions are industry agnostic and you can work with different models. So when we see this model in the browser, you can see that the user interface has very standard functionality. And this is APS viewer functionality. So you can measure elements. For example, I want to measure this window or the distance in between windows. It's not going to be exact, but I'm just showcasing the point. And then we can measure angles here as well. For example, here. And so on. Then we can see all the pieces of the assembly. So it shows you that it's not a picture, it's not just the outside. You can see all the granular details coming from Autodesk Revit in this case. We also have access to the hierarchy of the model. So we see, maybe we can highlight certain pieces of the model, furniture systems, all ground level, depending on what you're interested in. So it is can be narrowed down to whatever you want it to be. So we can select, you can filter it by floor. And what's more important than anything else is actually access to the metadata coming from the model. So maybe I'm interested in this, and I have all the item information, type, icon, material, layer, and so on. So let me refresh it one more time so that I get rid of this filtering. And on the left side, you'll see the APS viewer in action. The good thing about APS viewer is the buttons that you see in the interface of the APS viewer is very much customizable with JavaScript. So with the power of JavaScript, you can create more functionality and you can create more interactivity with how you can work with Autodesk Platform Services viewer. So on the right side, you see a cost database. In this case, it is a MongoDB database. It can be any external database with API. And you can see the material breakdown. So maybe I'm interested only in glass materials. I can select it in my database, in my table, and that gets automatically highlighted on my BIM model. I also have access to supplier information, price information. But then, for example, maybe I'm a person from the purchasing department and I notice that the currency is different because our suppliers are located across the world. So to make it easier and more intuitive for me, maybe as a person located in the US, there is a second table that has a breakdown or unification of costs in US dollars. So we have a breakdown of steel material, glass, plat. It might be just a dummy data. So if it doesn't make sense, it's probably because it's dummy data. But I hope you get the idea. So we have the breakdown of the cost, the percentage of that material existing in this model, and then a simple visualization, a simple pie chart to summarize the breakdown of the material and the cost for this particular design. Now, let me show you a few more examples of our partners and customers who leveraged Autodesk Platform Services. So the first example, and it will be a video playing in the background, and I'll repeat it probably a few times. But this is a company called Staticus, and this is one of the largest facade contractors in Northern Europe, and they specialize in United curtain wall systems. The challenge that they had is that they didn't have any integration between their design and make data and business data, like schedule, cost, logistics. There was no good way to sync data and share updates with their clients, the general contractors. The whole process was really manual, which means prone to errors, delays, and dissatisfaction. To solve that challenge, they came to a company that is an independent software vendor called Belogic, and they chose their flagship product that was powered by Autodesk Platform Services. This product is called VCAD. And essentially, it is an integration that connects BIM data and Power BI to visualize business insights along 3D models. So I'll play one more time and you will see that the interface is actually very similar to the proof of concept that I just showed you. On the right, we see the BIM model in the APS viewer with all the default functionality included to it. On the left side, we see the Power BI integration. We see the dashboards, the tables with the data that we need. And on the top part of this application, we see the filtering system. In this case, we can filter by current status, installed, by element ID. So we have multiple statuses that we can filter by, and that gives us visual information in the BIM model, as well as on the dashboard on the left. And as I mentioned earlier, the beauty behind dashboards is that this interface is definitely customizable depending on which persona is using the dashboard and which data from that BIM model they would be interested in. So the filtering system, you can change that. The insights that you would like to visualize with Power BI visualization tool might be different depending on your challenges, on your needs. And with the power of Autodesk Platform Services in this case, Staticus now have a solution that links model data with business data, so there's no manual updates anymore. There is a tight integration. And that product, VCAD, provides stakeholders complete control of data at every stage of the construction process. The creation of reports that combine 3D geometries and business intelligence to do data analysis, transformation, and verification becomes accessible even to less experienced users, even to teams who didn't used to have access to that. They can do that, which translated for Staticus into great time and cost savings. Another example I'll show you, and there is a video here, but I would like to show you the live demo today as well. This is our customer in Sweden, Sweco. They created an APS-powered solution called Carbon Cost Compass, or C3. And it is an innovative and easy-to-use calculation tool that allows construction and property developers to calculate carbon emissions and take actions to reduce their carbon footprint as well as their costs in the early stages of their process. So this is the video, and you can see the interface of their application, but you can actually go to the web browser, and I'll send that link over here. So this is the link to the demo, and we can click here for demo. In this case, we select one of the 3 Revit models as well, and it provides a quick, intuitive overview of the design choices on the sustainability and on the cost, so that we can choose the right design or the most optimal design to get the cost and the sustainability impact right. And here you can see also in the middle, just the simple APS viewer default functionality with measuring, exploding models, section analysis, and so on, and their version of visualization. Another example I'm going to show you today will be an SAP and Fusion integration created by our partner CDON. And I'll play this video in the background. CDON is a Germany-based systems integrator and process consultant with more than 10,000 customers across the mechanical engineering industry. CDON creates integrations between computer-aided design, or CAD, and engineering and enterprise resource planning, or ERP software such as SAP. CDON's customers could see the lost opportunity caused by a disconnection between their CAD and ERP software. Their design, cost, and facility data were in silos, creating blind spots for decision makers. Designers had no way to see the immediate impact of their choices on cost or manufacturability, while manufacturing teams had little visibility into material selections. Bringing the data together required manual data entry or the uploading and downloading of CSV files, processes that offered little opportunity to gain insights and optimize. So because of that challenge, CDN has built a connection between CAD and ERP using the Manufacturing Data Model API, one of the components that Autodesk Platform Services provides, to create a browser-based two-way integration that pulls data from the cloud. With Fusion components linked to SAP in bills of materials, or BOM, automatically transferred and updated, manual data entry is reduced. The solution gives CDON's customers live information synced in real time. Manufacturers can tap into BOM directly from SAP early in the design phase, enabling them to pre-order parts well ahead of manufacturing. Engineers can see cost calculations for each component based on complex factors such as country and customer, VAT, and more. Now they can choose the least expensive and most available parts during the design phase. It is a system that delivers both the sidelines and the insights manufacturers and engineers need. And hopefully you were able to watch the video while I was talking as well to see the demonstration of that SAP and Fusion integration. Let's now explore learning resources you can leverage right after this webinar, or events that you can consider attending in 2025. So our biggest event next year will be Autodesk Developer Conference. That is a 2-day technology and business conference that will happen in Amsterdam on May 20th, 21st, 2025. It will include APS keynotes, roadmap sessions, hackathon, 50 plus APS sessions, and not only technical deep dives, but also a lot of business development classes and even C-level roundtables. So this conference will be a good fit for multiple audiences. We don't have the registrations live yet, but they will be live very soon in January. If you would like to learn more about previous DEF CONs or learn more about the upcoming one, you can always go to our website, and I'll show you the link. If you go to aps.autodesk.com and navigate to Community DEF CON 2025, you will get more information on the conference, what to expect, or even become a sponsor or feature your project. You can always sign up for APS newsletter to be the first to know when the registrations for the conference are open. Outside of Autodesk DEF CON, we will have online trainings for beginners. We don't have the registrations live yet, but the topic of that online training will be around data models and data exchanges, and it will be around March 2025, so earlier in the year. Again, make sure you follow APS on social media, or you sign up for the newsletter, or you check our website regularly to check when the event goes live. And you can do that by going to aps.autodesk.com, community events. And this is where you will see the full list of events our team is organizing. Lastly, you can attend an APS Accelerator next year. You can see them as hackathons. They're 5-day events from Monday to Friday. They happen every month in different locations, and they're free to attend. You come with your APS project. So if you already have your APS project and you need technical support in that, APS accelerators would be the great place to go. Throughout the week from Monday to Friday, you get support directly from our engineers in real time. So that allows you to accelerate your APS project and get a working proof of concept by the end of the week. As you notice here, Prague is already over. The Prague Accelerator is over. However, we do have a few events published on our website for the next year. And if you go to our website, Community Accelerators, you will be able to see the schedule. Bangalore in February, Sydney in March, Malaga in March as well, and New York City in April. The registration is live for everything except for the New York City, but this one is coming live very soon as well. Now, if you would like to follow Autodesk Platform Services on different social media platforms, you can sign up for our LinkedIn page. We publish different announcements, events there almost every day. You can also sign up for our YouTube channel. And if you are watching this recording on our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed the webinar content. And you can also sign up for our newsletter, for our developer newsletter, to be the first one to know when the registrations for our events go live or when there is a new API in general availability or in public beta. And for those of you who are watching this video as a recording from the live webinar, you will find all the links I mentioned in the description down below.